Good evening. You can see we have a full house to discuss this bleak week at Luton Town. I'm waiting for us to actually, because there's a delay, obviously. I'm waiting to see where everyone is positioned on the old screen. I got Ryman to my right, I got Phil bottom left, and I got Wedge bottom right. How we doing, fellas? Don't all answer at once.
Shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right off the bat. There we go.
Well, let's be honest.
It has been a bleak old week that has seen Bloomfield go. And
Hey!
yeah, well, like what we discussed this in the sense, right off the bat, we'll talk about Matt Bloomfield leaving, because I've done my reaction, given my thoughts. That my opinion, Wed, is there is no point in celebrating, because yes, Bloomfield's gone. Bloomfield did amazing things with Wickham last year. However, there is something rotten at the core of the club, as highlighted by James Shay. If we don't get the next appointment on the money, we're screwed.
True.
It's true, but it doesn't stop the fact that Bloomfield needed to go when he went, and that at least we made the
club
decision.
acted.
Yeah, which is positive. Look, I don't think anyone wishes him any ill. I certainly don't. I think that he wanted to do well. Clearly, he just didn't have the experience or the ability to turn around what had happened to the club, which is obviously far worse than he probably expected coming in as well. Right, and it's still there. It still shows clearly after James Shea reaction and everything else, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Nothing's really changed in terms of the mentality of the squad.
Well, Phil, you're happy that Bloomfield's gone.
And yeah, I'm elated that he's gone.
Yeah, but
yeah, it is good that he's acted. That they've acted. I think ultimately there was nothing really positive about Matt Bloomfield's tenure, in my opinion. I think that as much as there might
when it mattered.
Yeah, well, you could say that. I've got no arguments with that. I think it's just the case of he didn't do what his remit was, regardless of what was stacked against him or not. The remit was to keep us in the league, and he didn't do that. I think that the remit this year is for us to go back up. Gary Sweet even alluded to that in his interview, where, truth be told, I think that he threw Matt Bloomfield under the bus for somewhat about football operations and basically chucking away all responsibility for the footballing side and putting it all on Matt. Yet the guy continues to say that he wants to be part of the footballing operations and that he knows this, that, or the other, and how experienced he is. So, yeah, it's not that he's without blame, but as Mark just said, the good thing is we have acted. What I worry about is how we're going to act and what we're going to do moving forward. Because you're right, it's one of those ones where it's make or break already at this time of the season. We are not good. We're not good at football. We're not good to watch. We don't make chances, and we are unbelievably ropey at the back. I mean, anyone that watched last night's game away to Cambridge, you're looking at that lineup thinking that's not far off of our first team. And I'm thinking that Lawless has picked that team knowing that there's a break afterwards, and that why not? Let's just go with our as much of a close to our first team as normal. They cannot defend. They are dreadful at defending. They are so poor, it is embarrassing. So yeah, in terms of a new manager, it has to be right. They have to do something right. And I think that I saw, I don't know what outlet it is, so I apologise for not giving a credit to whichever outlet it was that I read this today, but someone has spoken to Johnny Smith, and he said about the fact that we need a manager that's got passion, someone that's going to get the players and fire them up, because let's face it, the last two managers, whilst they've had their positives, obviously Rob Edwards was a great man manager for the vast majority of things. He conducted himself beautifully in a time of real difficulty, but Matt Bloomfield was, I've said it before and I'll say it again, he was Timu Rob Edwards. He wanted to look like him, he wanted to sound like him, and he was just completely useless. So I'm so glad that he's gone. I personally would like to see someone that's do you know what? I even saw something today. You know, sorry to go off on a tangent, everyone. I apologise. I'm
I,
taking
I love I love
but
tangents.
but do you know?
Carry
you've
on.
you've seen them Mick McCarthy. You know that sort of renowned quote where he gets interviewed and he says,
It
"Can't
can't
get
go
it?"
on.
And he goes,
Or
"It can." And you're like, I'd have a bit of Mick McCarthy because he knows that it can get worse and hopefully try and turn it around.
He's not Mick McCarthy.
No.
No,
But yeah, in all seriousness,
yeah.
we need someone to go in there, give a huge kick up the backside to some of those guys that are quite clearly not performing, but also at the same time give some of those younger guys, some of those flair guys, the ones that can win games, a shot in the arm for a bit of confidence because we're absolutely shot.
Yeah. Good points. Good points.
Sorry, my washing machine agreed with you as well. By the way,
I thought there was something wrong with my brain there. I was like, I heard it. I was like, what is that?
So apologies.
Where was that noise coming from?
It helped. It really helped to punctuate Phil's point, to be honest. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, good evening to everyone that's tuning in. Really appreciate having you guys all here. And a shout out to Liam, a Luton Town fan I met while I was out doing my day job. And he saw me and was like, "Do I know you?" I was like, "Are you a Luton Town fan?" And he was like, "Yes." So good evening, Liam. And hopefully see you at the Kenny at some point. He's in Block F, like essentially a next door neighbour to me in Block E. Right. So I was going to leave the managerial stuff until a bit later, but okay. Do you want to give we can each choose one manager that we would have, if we could have anyone. Realistic? Or shall we do the managerial odds first? Because there are some absolutely fantastic ones out there.
I reckon give us a hint. Give us some of the odds, and if we've got any of our own, we can obviously chuck them in.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so 2-1. Current favourite. Yesterday he was evens. Jack Wilshere. Naturally, a very experienced manager and coach, right? Then we got Richie Wellens, who's sort of come up the rankings a little bit. Luke Williams, well, he's that bloke that was with Swansea, wasn't he?
He started off favourite, didn't he?
Yeah, 8-1. Russell Martin, 8-1. Like, so we're getting into quite long odds here. I don't think, Russell Martin wouldn't happen anyway because I think he's got a legal case against Glasgow Rangers right now. Alex Lawless, 12-1. Those odds have gone longer as well. To be honest, I don't think he wants it. I think he's enjoying his time with the under-21s. Although I do like the idea of having an angry Welshman. But I feel he's not. You need someone external. Gary O'Neill, 12-1. Michael Scubula, 25-1. Absolutely schooled us with Lincoln a couple of weeks back. Graham Alexander, 25-1. Absolutely schooled us with Bradford a couple of weeks ago.
Choice.
And then Stefan Kuntz, who's 25-1 as well. That one is, right behind him is Christian Titz, also at 25-1.
Is Lamine Fanny going to be player manager as well, alongside the ultimate trio?
So Kuntz and Titz are actually courtesy of the Discords. I believe Mike has been requesting manager odds from all the betting providers, and for some reason, like, these betting providers have actually given odds because they're ridiculous. But hey, any excuse to take people's money, right? And then you have likes of Chris Coleman, Michael Appleton, who's always been linked, hasn't he? Ryan Lowe, Dave Challoner, Robbie Savage, Michael Carrick, Liam Richardson, Sean Dyche, Paul Cook, Danny Rowe. I'd love to have Danny Rowe. Adam Hinshelwood, don't even know who he is. Steve Evans, Graham Coughlin, Pete Wild, Wayne Rooney, Ian Evatt, Neil Critchley, Stephen Robinson. He's ubiquitous with the managerial frames, isn't he, at Luton Town? Whenever there's an opening, he's always linked. Anthony
Rangers,
Barry. Is he? Is he? Oh, good for him.
I've been saying about how good a job he's done over the years. So,
oh, blimey. Yeah, well, he's never really done it in England, has he? And then Anthony Barry, no idea who he is. Dave Wagner, John Brady, Scott Lindsay, Grant McCann, Kevin Muscat. Wow, some random names. Matt Taylor, Alberto Toril, who I bet none of you can guess where he's managing at the moment. He's another one that Mike put onto the. He was at 12-1 yesterday. Alberto Toril. He's the current Real Madrid ladies manager that Mike got onto the betting sheet. Ian Holloway, Gareth Ainsworth, Jim Goodwin, Stephen Gerrard, and Steve Bruce rounds it up at 33-1. Any of those take your fancy?
I'd go with Graham Alexander personally. I've seen a couple of people mention it, whether he'd come to us or not. I wouldn't
exactly
necessarily.
the point, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it's going to be the point.
Who's going to leave
them? Yeah.
Why would you leave Bradford? Why would you leave Lincoln? Like, I don't see what's
Bradford's
so attractive about us at the moment.
Well, we have got a bit more money. We've got a bit of it. We've got there is that kind of sell of the future plans, I guess. But you're right. I mean, it's with all of these managers getting them out of a job, it's going to be a very difficult ask. I would rather him than some people have been talking about the big characters. In all honesty, the worry I have, and I might be completely off the mark, the worry I have with the kind of Sean Dyche is never going to come to us, but I'll just use it as an example of that, is that for me, the best managers have got the club and invested into the club, which is the kind of positive side of where 2020 want to go with things. I get that it hasn't always worked. And I don't see a character like Steve Evans and Sean Dyche ever doing that. I don't. Even John Still, who's our best example of someone with experience that came to us, bought into the club. I just can't see that happening with some of those character type managers. And that would be my worry. So I think there needs to be a connection at the same time. Graham Alexander sort of fits both of those molds a bit for me. So that's why I would go for them. But yeah, there's no one that massively stands out. And Wedge is absolutely right. There's no massive draw for him to leave Bradford when he's doing such a good job there and come to Luton, who are absolutely falling like a stone.
Yeah, the squad is quite appetizing, though, isn't it? And everyone in the comments, get your thoughts in. Who do you want to see? Yeah, sorry guys, go on.
I was going to say, I don't know whether he would come down to us, but I think we need someone who has experience of good football. And I wouldn't mind taking a punt at someone like Michael Carrick at this level, because I think he's got so much experience within.
Can he elevate and sort the attitude?
There's no way he comes down to us.
Yeah, exactly. But I think someone with that kind of knowledge of football, because Matt Bloomfield has some knowledge of football, but it's always been at lower levels, hasn't it? And you haven't really got that advanced thinking as what a coach can bring. So someone with that kind of knowledge, but like you say, you need the character to kick these players up the arses and actually get them to fight. So, but yeah, I wouldn't want Jack Wilshere. Just why would you? That's another gamble. It's another gamble, isn't it?
Steve Boulders is number 2. Someone's put Jack Wilshere if he has Steve Boulders as number 2. I'd rather have Arsene Wenger as his number 2.
Yeah.
Just on Wedge's point with Carrick, and I agree, he's not coming to us. One thing that he would do is, the one draw, I suppose, with a manager like that is that we've got about 1 million strikers and forward players. And one thing Carrick's always done well, right, is get the most out of forward players. He certainly did at Middlesbrough. So that's it. But you're right, he's not coming down to League One.
I hate to be the killjoy, but I just think there are some names that are being popped in there. They're just so unrealistic. It's unreal.
What, you mean Stefan Kuntz and Christian Titz are not coming to Luton Town?
I mean,
the only one he interviews.
Can you imagine if we have a manager called Kuntz? Like, it would just be.
It make the chance easier.
Yeah, but yeah, I just feel like we're mentioning names like obviously the bookies are the bookies. They'll take odds on anyone. The likes of Danny Roll, the likes of Michael Carrick, and he basically even I've seen in the comments Ruben Sellers. They ain't managing in League One.
No,
I'm just sorry.
I think Ruben Sellers good. He completely bombed out.
I don't want Ruben Sellers.
Yeah, I don't want
but I also don't think. Remember, these guys have all got their own egos and they've all got their own ethoses. So there's no way in a million years that they're going to drop down to League One, to mediocre at best Luton Town at the minute. I thought that Mark did very well earlier on, not to describe us as absolute dog shit, because we are so bad. It's unbelievable. So
took me a while.
Yeah, for me personally, I wouldn't mind Jack Wilshere if he had an experienced number 2. I think that when you look at when we first had Nathan Jones and the experience that he had behind him with Hart, but it can work if there's a sensible man sort of behind him.
It took off with Rutter It took off
So-
with Rutter, if you remember.
Oh, did he?
Steve
Sorry,
Rutter.
my mistake. My
Well,
mistake.
no. I mean, it works with Hart, in the League Two
You're
years.
right,
But remember,
yeah, I
League
remember now.
One was like Rutter.
Yeah.
When,
You're
when
right.
Rutter came in, we went to another level.
Yeah.
Mm.
Get Steve Rutter back.
Yeah. I mean,
He's
He
not
went
back.
abroad, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did, yeah. But yeah, it's one
Without
of those. I wouldn't mind it if it was, and also they'll have apparently, according to Sweet, they'll have sort of free reign over footballing operations, and ultimately Jack Wilshere has been sort of cutting his teeth at sort of Arsenal youth level. Then he went to Norwich, I think, and started doing some work with them. So he's not without a CV. It'd be a risk, but you never know. I'd rather have him than Rooney.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think
free
I think
reign. Free reign, but within limits, because Sweet is a micro manager at the end of the day, and he'll always want to stick his oar in.
I mean, he's already
not
when
dictate
in the football
formation.
statement, he's named about 4 or 5 different divisions of the club that are going to be making the decision as to who's going to be coming in as manager. Almost to say, like, if the next appointment isn't the right one, it's not the board's fault; it's everyone's fault because we're all looking into it. And like, yeah, but who's actually got the final say, Gary?
Yeah.
I think what sort of turned things this last couple of weeks is that I would argue that it was almost unanimous in the fact that he had to go. There were fellow podcasters, there were fellow people that love this club, including the Supporters Trust, that were just like, this is enough. This is absolutely enough. It is simply not good enough. So he had to act, otherwise there'd have been mutiny inside Kenilworth Road.
Well, it's like, and it's come like a year to the day of that Middlesbrough 5-1 as well, where everyone knew Rob Edwards had to go, except the board. So fair play that they actually did it ahead of an international break and ahead of the LDV vans as well. Yeah. But Bloomfield knew, like the way he
walked off
against Stevenage. Yeah, he knew.
Yeah, of course he did.
Yeah.
Well, it couldn't go on. It couldn't go on. There was nothing changing, etc. Just really quickly on the manager stuff and the risk and the conversations that I've heard as well, that all managers are a risk. There is no such thing as a risk-free appointment. And I've heard a lot of narratives, and I've been thinking about this genuinely because I agreed with this narrative for a bit, and I've kind of pulled myself up and questioned it recently about we're rubbish at appointing managers as a club. Because I've heard a few people talk about we don't tend to get the managers right. And then I try and think, can you think of many clubs that do better than, say, 1 in 3? I can't think of any football clubs really that do better than about 1 in 3 across the country in terms of managerial appointment. Even the ones at the very top. I mean, Manchester United are an easy one to pick on. But, Man City when they had all the money before Pep, and Arsenal arguably before Arteta. Clubs, Chelsea infamously get it wrong all the time. Like it's a bit harsh maybe to level that at the board to say they don't get the manager.
We're running at less than 1 in 3 though.
But
Hartford was their first appointment.
I don't think that was a bad. I don't think that was a bad appointment, really. Actually, I think that's circumstance. But
he went a bit early. So Hartford, but it's just because he was there with financial trouble. Money, Brabin, Buckle, Still. So that's like 1 in 5 because Hartford was already there. Then after Still, Jones, Nathan Jones, Graham Jones.
I think that was, Graham Jones turned out to be a terrible decision because it was a risk. But I was really excited about Graham Jones. I thought it was a good idea at the time.
He didn't have the players. Sure. But at the same time, I'm not a fan of these managers that come in and overcomplicate things with tactics and furiously gesticulating on the sideline. These are footballers, not rocket scientists. They don't understand when you're explaining things. You've got to keep it simple for them. But after Graham Jones, Nathan Jones back, and then Rob Edwards,
which was a good appointment at the time.
It was a good appointment because Nathan Jones's foundations were in place. But what we saw was when Edwards started putting his own foundations in place, that's when it fell apart.
Well,
and that is a hill I'll die on. As soon as he put his foundations in place, whether or not Gary Speed was involved in that, the recruitment in January in the Premier League was terrible. And Rob Edwards should have been a stronger person and said, no, I need XYZ. And if that was if his XYZ was Hashioka, Holmes, and Taylan Harris, then he deserved to be fired on the spot.
We know that isn't the case, don't we? So, but I mean, just going back a sec, because I don't want to go off on one about Edwards too much. But just as an appointment, it was a good appointment at the time. Should they have sacked him earlier? Yes, but at the time it was a good appointment. I think he got us up to the Premier League. I don't think we can make an argument that it wasn't a good appointment. All I'm saying is that actually it's a really difficult thing to do to know what's going to work and what's not going to work. I think the Bloomfield one, to be fair, we could all see where the dangers of that was coming, right?
It was the wrong
experienced
time.
coach. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I think that one was poor from the book, particularly not to really give it the time. I think they panicked because of how late they'd left it to sack Edwards, and they clearly then got in someone who was doing so well with Wickham that they just thought, we can just bring all of that confidence with him. And maybe Richard Kone as well, and we'll do exactly the same thing for Luton. And it was just a rushed decision that, you know, we could see at the time. So I agree. We can all look at that now and say that's the correct, point to make. I'm not convinced either way, by the way. I just think maybe the narrative that we're terrible at hiring good managers is maybe slightly harsh when you look up and down the country, and it's pretty similar at most clubs. That's all I would say.
Oh, look at you trying to climb back.
I know. I'm not doing. I'm just trying to be. Sure. I'm trying to be balanced on this. I'm just trying to think about it in terms of. I'm trying to be positive. The reason why really is that I don't want to be negative before someone comes in. That's the last thing, and I'm trying to think it could work, like we did with Bloomfield. Because I can't stand the misery of what is going on at the moment, and I need to inject some positivity in it. That's really why.
Our own players are doing the misery for you.
Yeah,
mate.
I
know. Well, before we go on to James Shay's interview, none of you have asked me who I'd have as manager.
Who do you have, Ollie?
I'd have Roy Keane.
No, you wouldn't.
I would have. I bloody would.
Years. Managed in 15 years.
Yeah. Hey, he's got promoted at Kenilworth Road before, so fair play to him.
Yeah, but also Tahith Chong was an absolute world beater at Kenilworth Road once, so there you go.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? He does not suffer fools gladly. He had put a boot up the arse of every single player, and he is tactically very clued up. I reckon I'd go for him, but there's no chance. No chance, is there?
Contract at Sky Sports is probably worth a lot more than what we can pay him.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah, true. Look, there would have been a lot more options had we sacked Edwards earlier last year, like halfway through the year. Let's get some comments from here. A horseshoe crab. Oh wow. Wow, loads.
Come on, Ollie, come on.
Wilshere and Steve Boulders number 2. A horseshoe crab. Neil Harris. Phil Clark, Graham Alexander. I'd love Graham Alexander. It'd just be so good to have him come back. He was like one of my early heroes in the 90s. Matthew Byro, my preference would be Graham Alexander, but why would he come to us now? True. Kevin McHugh, Danny Roll, yes please, but no chance. Robinson or Alexander wouldn't.
Yeah, Robinson. Yeah.
Yeah. A young manager will need a steady head. Get John Still back in an executive role, even if that is under Gary Sweet.
That's a good shout. I'll be honest. I think that's a really good shout. Have him something to do with the club, not as a manager.
Yeah, exactly. But he loves being around. I think he's currently doing bits with Maidenhead. I think he's like their director of football or something. Here's something.
A director of football.
He's like
a bit European for Maidenhead, isn't it?
Yeah,
bit wokey, isn't it?
Very continental.
Yeah.
Have Maidenhead rejoined the EU? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. It's close honestly, to France as you can get.
Some of those sayings and clips that Gary Sweet was coming out with were absolutely horrendous. Genuinely, it's a European framework that we don't really operate to. Yeah, just because he doesn't want someone else, like, you know, another oar, you know, in the river, like next to his. Manic Optio, Rui George, don't even know who the hell that is. Sounds a bit European to me. Nigel Pearson, a horseshoe crab.
Horseshoe crab is just trolling us. He's suggested an ex-Millwall manager and an ex-Watford manager.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, there are loads of ex-Watford managers knocking around.
Yeah, but Nigel Pearson is proper and an absolute knobhead as well.
It's like Nigel Pearson, he's barely Watford, you know. Didn't he get like the end of the season after Roy Hodgson and
I say we might as well get Roy Hodgson.
He
played for him as well, though, didn't he? So
yeah, but so Sean Dyche played for Watford.
Yeah.
And
Oh
Luton
yeah,
as
he
well.
did. He did.
And Andy Mitch says, "Give it to Phil to the end of the season."
Go on, Phil.
Phil could do a job. Yeah, could Jack Wilshere be a correct link? Yeah, possibly. But anyway, before we talk about Shay's interview, I've got a little quiz prepared. It's called "Who Said It? James Shay or Gary Sweet?" Okay. Okay. Here's quote one. Wait for me to read both out before you say A or B. Okay. Play along in the comments. Quote one. A. You can really see the energy if you go to the Brage, and Matt creates a fantastic environment. B. A depressing dressing room. When you don't think it can get any worse, it does.
A was Sweet and B was Shay.
Be a bit weird if A was Shay, considering he said about Matt, who had been sacked at that point as well.
Oh yeah, that's the easy one. That's the easy one. Okay. Right. Okay. A. The boys have got no confidence. B. I don't believe the poor form will continue. Who said which?
Shay A and
Shay.
Sweet B.
Right. A. The players and Matt have responded well to defeats. B. Just not nice at the minute.
It could have been any of us. B.
Gary Sheets.
Okay. A. I can categorically say the problem is not the football club. It's not a defensive statement. It's a fact. We have very good people in it. B.
Yeah, well, that's Gary
It's
Sweet.
in the last couple of years. It's just dwindled away.
Yeah, the football club.
Shay. Yeah. Oh man, the contradictions.
I know. That's what I think. Horrendous.
Unbelievable.
Like the way Gary was saying everything, and James Shay's just come out and essentially said this is all complete bullshit.
He sprinkled glitter on shit, and then Shay's just stood in it.
Yeah, it's the Shay Sweet spectrum, isn't it? That's what you. That's where are you on the Shay Sweet spectrum? It should be the sort of how are you on a scale of 1 to 10 now.
You're right in the middle after your comments earlier on, mate.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to push it up. I'm getting further. I'm more Shay, more and more Shay, more this goes on.
It's the spectrum of fan stroke player and business person, isn't it? You know,
a delusion.
Yeah. Complete delusion.
Well, we all said at the time those Gary Sweet interviews, both of them were just complete nonsense. The stuff he was saying. The only thing I can applaud him about is the fact that they took action really quickly and got rid of Bloomfield before it became truly toxic. Although one does think if they'd left it until after the international break, with Mansfield being the first home game, was it because he didn't want it all targeted on him? Come, from you thugs in Block B.
Yeah.
And everyone from F and G going across the back as well. Yeah, I think. The thing, I don't think they need to rush into an appointment. Like I say, we've got an international break. I don't want them appointing someone.
No, they do,
tomorrow,
No, they do. They do. I'll tell you the reason why. Because he's not without knowing. That was essentially a vote of confidence, that interview that he did. That was like 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, but any club that's got any sort of thing about them, they would have been starting to do research in the background. And I hate to bring it up, but you think about the scum down the road. They've literally sacked a guy and there's got another guy in before he's even managed to catch the train from outside the station.
In the same statement. They announced him in the same
It's ridiculous.
Sorry, Watford are a joke. Even though we're in League One, they're still making me laugh. Thank you.
Watford. The statement was fantastic. It was like, we are delighted to announce Javi Gracia has returned to the club. We are sad to meanwhile, what's his face? Eduardo
Estepina.
He's gone.
They probably needed to scroll down a couple of times on X to find the last time they'd announced Javi Gracia as their manager. So to be fair, It's pretty easy to do. Just repost. There you go.
I use them as an example, obviously, as an extreme example, as an extreme case. But I'm not being funny.
They're well versed.
Yeah, but the international break should be being utilised when you know how much pressure Bloomfield's had on him, when you know the fact that there's real disharmony from the fans towards the club at the moment. They should have been doing research in the background. If there's not someone in by the end of this weekend to give them a week with the players, I'll be really seriously peeved.
1,000 data points, mate. 1,000 data points.
Yeah. Well,
one man interviewed.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think that's what I'm alluding to, is that when we got rid of Edwards, it was almost like we got Bloomfield in straight away, and we didn't look to see who the best person that can take the club is, the club forward is. So,
and we brought him in halfway through the transfer window.
But I don't want them to say, like, we've just rushed straight into this person because we have to get a manager. I want them to really think about who our next manager is and make the best decision that they think is for this club, without just being like, yeah, all right, we've taken him. I just want a little, as if there has been a little bit of thought going into the next hiring. Is kind of my thoughts towards it. No doubt, they should have be looking at, who they want to replace, but don't just, say, yeah, we'll take him. I just want a little bit of thought.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
I think traditionally, other than Bloomfield, it has taken quite a while, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. I think with Bloomfield, as we talked about before, it was panicked because of how late they left everything. But I feel like Rob Edwards was a little while. I can't remember. Nathan Jones being re-announced was obviously during COVID and lockdown and everything else, so that's not really the best example, I guess. But it's always taken a bit of time. So, but I'm with you, Wedge, in terms of I don't want them to rush into it. But you would hope, right, that from a footballing point of view, as Phil said, that is the way football works. I mean, that has to be the way football works, and they should be doing it. Because, we look at it as players. I mean, the whole Alfie Doughty saga, which was another ridiculous footnote in this season, and the stupid line from Bloomfield is, we didn't know he was going to go until he went. Well, why aren't you looking at players on the off chance that a player that played for us in the Premier League is one of the highest wage earners and is absolutely, being wanted by every championship club, is going to leave us? Why the hell aren't we looking at replacements? Ridiculous. We can't surely be doing that.
Considering he was the only left back at the club as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, him and Joe
I
Johnson.
think that's a word that I keep using about our club. It's ineptitude. It really staggers me how inept some of our thought processes can be for a club that go around saying that they do things the right way. My God, we get a lot wrong at the minute.
Yeah, well,
I also hope that with there not being a full-time manager, that these players, they've not got a manager to kind of try and run them up and say, yeah, okay, we'll look forward to the next one. Hopefully they're sitting at home really thinking on a personal level what is now expected of them again, and like they're actually sitting by themselves and having a good hard look at themselves individually, because after the international break, they themselves, obviously the manager's gone, we know that they're not gelling together, but they need to individually really come out and show us that they are the right players to take our squad back up the table.
Go on, sorry.
Go on. I was just going to bring it back to the James Shay interview. So in the past 4 weeks, we've had Clark, Naismith, Saville, now Shay. So essentially the 4 elder statesmen.
Yeah.
Well, Savile's a new joiner.
No, but he's experienced. He's been in this situation before.
They've essentially trotted out the 4 elder statesmen, and they've all said 4 completely different things. Although I'd say Clark and Shay probably said the most similar things. And obviously with Lockyer leaving as well, and me and Ryman have already bashed heads about this. With these people being on the training ground, wouldn't you think, and Lockyer included, because he's been on the training ground essentially training with these guys the past 18 months, wouldn't they, grab the younger players and say, look, this is your career. You need to be putting in the effort. You can't let your heads drop after conceding a goal. Because that is exactly what's happened. time and time and time again. We concede a goal, complacency, concede 2, 3 more, or score a goal, think it's home and hosed, drop the ball, and away we go once again. Like, why haven't the elder statesmen actually been saying this? Like Carlton Morris as well. He said, like, after we got relegated against West Brom, he was saying, "Oh yeah, there were loads of problems." Why didn't you pick up on that during the season?
I think you do, as a youngster, you do need to look up to the older players. But obviously, when you look at Jordan Clark and James Shay, they've been through the tough times like the Premier League, and then last year more than what the other players have with us. And I think it takes a toll on them as well, that they themselves have to consistently have, pick their head up off of, and I think it's just as difficult for the older players to constantly try and breed confidence in the younger players, especially when they're used to losing. We said it all last season. They're used to losing, and they need to try and break that trend. And I think when you've got people that are used to losing, it's difficult for them to be the ones to look at.
And again, maybe that's why it comes down to actually it's a good thing that we've got rid of Bloomfield, because again, him and his team were the ones that were also used to losing at the back end of last season by the time they'd had enough time with us. And we've had plenty of new players that have come in and they look broken already.
Yeah, it's amazing how much of the squad from the season that we've had in the Championship is still knocking about, isn't it? Considering all the changes that we've had. I was thinking about this the other day in terms of our kind of regular starters. You've got most of the back 4 or 5 that were playing at some part last season. You've got a fair chunk of the midfield. All right, now Walsh and Baptiste are injured, less so. And really the only department where you haven't is up front. And everyone else has still got that at least one relegation on their CV there as well. So yeah, it's still there in big kind of numbers. Just really quickly on the Lockyer thing, I think, look, Ollie and I disagree on it. But my take on it, and it was nice. The video was nice, and I have nothing but good feelings for Tom Lockyer. I'm just so pleased he's alive. I think that's number one. And I wasn't at Bournemouth, thank God, because that's truly a harrowing thing to go through. And my only point is, we do not know the circumstances of his recovery. We do not know what the expectations are going to be on that, and to the impact stuff like that might have on his health and his heart in particular. And so I don't want to. I just don't want to jump to any conclusions about what his role could and could not be. Yes, I know he was doing a lot of punditry while he was still recovering from the club, but that's a bit different to being in the tactics and the training room and being part of the day-to-day life of the club. Look, we know how stressful that was. Look at what it did to Rob Edwards, for Christ's sake. I mean, the man looked broken by the end of it. I don't think that, and this is why, as sad as I am for him to go, I never would be completely comfortable with him putting a Luton shirt on again, because that's still etched in my memory. And I hope for his sake that he does have a successful footballing career without any more incidents. But I think that I don't think that the club can be held responsible for that, to be honest. And I don't know the circumstances well enough to know what Tom Lockyer could and could not have done about that. I just don't. But yeah, it's just really sad from a player that we're talking about poor leadership. He's one of the best leaders we've had in years, absolutely years. The way he dealt with being dropped by Nathan Jones.
He should have been a bit more involved then.
I think, this is just my 2 pence. We don't know what goes on down the bridge. But I think up until probably when he got injured around about Christmas last year, was it? He was on the road to come back and probably play for us. And we still had Edwards at that time, didn't we? And obviously he got that injury. And I just think from that, and then Edwards leaving as well, his agenda and Luton's agenda were very, very different, in that I don't think the club really would want to take a risk on Lockyer. He's had another setback. but we're more than happy to facilitate him in actually getting back to match fitness. And yeah, I mean, his main focus surely is for him to get back to the best health he can, rather than wondering, oh, I need to try and, be there for the whole team and get them through this tough patch. He's going through his own stuff. And I don't think the responsibility of being the club captain is something you can put on his shoulders. We've got vice captains. I think I said when we played Portsmouth last year, we had 5 captains in one game. So obviously there's enough people in that squad to pick up the pieces and try and G up the squad. I don't think you can put that blame on Tom Lockyer. I'm just glad he's got back to the position that he wants to be in to play football again. And, whoever's that with, then good luck to him.
Well, thanks for making me sound like an arsehole. Guys.
Yeah, I'm just going to chime in as well. I think you are an arsehole, and I think that you're completely wrong.
And end there.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from, Ollie. You want someone.
You want the best for the club, Ollie. I get it.
Yeah.
I get the fact that you want. I think I'm reading this right, Ollie. You're basically saying that you want Tom Lockyer to be passionate about the club, like he showed when he was on the pitch, and have a word basically when it's a tough time. And I get that, but my own personal viewpoint would tend to align with what the other guys have said, and the fact that I think he weirdly needed to be selfish and just sort himself out. I think that let's be honest, if he could be playing, if he could be still putting on the shirt, he certainly would be. He's been dealt a pretty shoddy hand, and I think that he's probably just been told, focus on yourself, get yourself fit. I hope he goes back to somewhere like Bristol Rovers, by the way.
He's already training at Bristol Rovers.
Is he? Great. I'd like to see some symmetry in that career, and sort of him go and play for a team that he can properly sort of fall back in love with again. And all the best for him. Like I've said in the weeks gone past, I was at that Bournemouth game. Worst thing I've ever seen on a football pitch. I didn't personally ever want to see him play for Luton again because I couldn't bear to see another trauma. I've been there live twice. I didn't want to see it for a third time. Yeah. So, but all that being said, you look at that video of him with his daughter and how much joy he's got in his life. If that's what he wants to go and do, and if his target is to walk her out on the pitch with him when he plays football again, who are we to say no? Fair play to Locks, and I personally thank him for what he did. When you look at that highlight reel, that season in the Championship where he took us up from, I mean, the guy was absolutely wonderful. So fair play to him. Sorry, again on my soapbox. I'll let you get on with it. Sorry, Ollie.
No, it's absolutely fine. Look, he was a tremendous captain. I want. I want to stress the point. Players, managers, sometimes owners, not our owners because they are fans, but players and managers, they're paid employees. I was at a place the other day doing a job, and I got there at like 3. At 5 o'clock, I was still going. They all left at 5. Like bang on 5, they all left. I couldn't even get out of the car park because I didn't have key card access. A lot of people can be jobs worths, and fans are the only ones that are going to be there forever. Players, managers, it's a paycheck. And when you hear people say, I take it home with me, like the only one that I actually truly believe that was Nathan Jones, because he used to sleep at the Brace and he didn't have kids. But in all fairness, when you have kids, your priorities change in life. And quite rightly so. Lockyer should be there for his kids. And I'll go a step further. What you said, you don't want to see him play for Luton again. I don't want to see him play football again. Yeah, I think with the intensity he plays at, it's not going to be good for him. Yeah, of course, it's his choice. He's got the hardware now. But personally, I feel the intensity he plays at, it won't be healthy for him. But, he should stick to golf. He's obviously a very good golfer. And on the topic of golf, Bryn Watson, friends of the pods, he says, mate that plays golf with Locks said he was told by Gary Sweet he's not welcome at the club. Okay, so me and Gary Sweet are aligned on that. There we go. Back in the good graces.
Oh dear.
Yeah. No, good luck to Locks at Bristol Rovers. Even if he just plays a couple of games, I hope he gets back to it. But personally, I don't want to see him play football. I'm worried, it's happened twice. It could happen again. Yeah. What else is on the agenda? So we talked about Lockyer departing, Shay's interview. Any other thoughts about Shay's interview?
Can we not talk about the Cambridge game? Is that okay? Are we
No,
allowed
yeah,
to
we don't
just
even-
pretend that didn't happen?
It was
I
terrible.
don't mind what we talk about, but
Do you want to talk about our defensive line, Mark?
oh my Christ! I just like.
I mean, give a
honestly,
shout out to Pelly. I think
Yeah,
Pelly got a nice
yeah,
warm reaction,
yeah.
didn't he? So
That was
you know,
nice.
I'm
He
glad
looked
he got
good.
a nice
Nice.
warm reaction.
He did
Yeah,
look
I
good.
Yeah.
just the defensive line and the forward press was like I had to check my telly that it wasn't at like half speed. You know when you've got slow motion going, watching Nordas trying to close down the goalkeeper. It's like the big boom when the Jurassic Park, when the T-Rex is coming. It's how slow it was. And the same as Mads Anderson and Mengi trying to track backwards as well. I was like, this is ridiculous. It was utterly shambolic. Right. I said I didn't want to talk about it.
What about that third goal?
I wouldn't know, mate. I'd turned it off. I watched it, though. I did see it. I'd turned it off by the third goal. I turned it off after the second one went in. I was like, I can't be watching it.
That was traumatic. Yeah. Just Longwick and Mengi, two big boys, just
They're
too
just
scared.
so bad.
Just
so
too
bad.
scared.
I was like, what's happened? Why have they stopped? Is there a foul? Has the referee not blown his whistle?
They didn't stop.
Yeah,
neither of them knew which one was going to go for the ball, so they just both left it.
Yeah,
and let it bounce over them.
Both of them, they're useless. The pair of them.
You and I have disagreed about Anderson a couple of times, Ollie, because I don't think he was by far the worst player on the pitch against Stevenage. I thought he was good at doing the Matty Pearson stuff and winning aerial battles and everything like that. His passing was terrible, but he won the aerial battles, and me and you disagree. I can't disagree with that last night. That was utterly shambolic. And the same as Mengi. I mean, they were both terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah.
Since he's come back into the team, we've been so much worse for it. I'm sorry, he's just been so bad. And I know that I think it was the home game where we did pick up the 3 points. Last time we were at Kenilworth Road, where there was, I think it was Naismith perhaps that was having a go at someone in the main stand in the enclosure, because they were having a go at Mengi because he'd made another absolute clusterfuck of a situation. Like the guy is, we were saying about being shot of confidence. It's like he's forgotten how to play football. His ability to close players down, the fact that he's an absolute unit and he's never within 5 yards of another player. His positioning is absolutely dreadful. I can't defend the guy. I can't defend the guy. He's absolutely cooked. Yeah, he has. He's absolutely cooked. Like, for a guy that's got ambitions to play in the Premier League again, he's got a long old way to go. And I'll personally, if he needs a real kick up the backside, he needs a good international break, because I don't want to see him in the starting lineup in the next game. He's so bad.
Do you know what we're talking about? Confidence and the lack of confidence being toxic in the squad. You can even see it with players like Makosso. And by the way, Makosso needs to be back in the centre of defence as quickly as possible. But
he cannot play right.
But absolutely. But having said that, even he is starting to make crazy mistakes, not tracking people that he wouldn't have done previously as well. Longwick, who looked good at the start of the season, I had high hopes as. I mean, I don't know what's happened to that guy. It's all across the pitch, isn't it? It's all across the pitch. You can see it, but we need a consistency.
Wedge is back.
Yeah, hi Wedge.
Hello, Wedge.
I know we didn't want to talk about.
I won't go for
Cambridge.
a pee today.
You just walk out.
Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. All good.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for the update.
Did you wash your hands?
No, it wasn't.
He's just wiped on his trousers. There we go.
Yeah. Good enough.
Right.
Good enough.
You're running joke that now, but
Yeah, it's all right. You and your tiny bladder. It's fine.
Yeah. Let's blame on that.
Yeah, so we were saying Makosso needs to be in the centre of defence. But what do you guys think about Keeley? Because since that Burton game...
Wedge is back. Go!
On, Wedge.
Back in the right time here, haven't I?
Yeah, perfectly timed, because something's happened.
Nothing's happened. It's
playing
how he did at the beginning.
No, nonsense.
No,
that's
something has happened. I think that Plymouth game completely shot his confidence.
I mean, he's been terrible recently. But he single-handedly was the reason we won the game against Wigan. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's the only reason why we didn't not only just get 1 point, didn't lose it, but in the last few games, I mean, like all of them, there's no confidence at all. Yeah. There's no confidence whatsoever across the back line. But then we're just talking about how poor the defence has been. It's across the board, isn't it? So you have a poor defence in front of you as well. But I mean, the second goal against Stevenage was infinitely savable, I would say. It's his near post, right?
Yeah.
And he sort of flapped at one before that in the first half that was straight at him, I think. Sort of parried it out and it was okay. But and then obviously the game before at Blackpool, their first goal as well. I mean, it wasn't the only one at fault for their first goal, by the way. The amount of space and time that guy had on that side was laughable. No one closing him down. Again against Cambridge, their first goal, which by the way was an absolute banger of a goal. But how much time did he have to shoot? Sorry, going back on that. It's unreal. Just not closing players down. It's what we did with Edwards. It was the end of Edwards was this as well. No players wanting to get anywhere near people having a shot. Just nowhere near them. His confidence has gone for me. Completely gone.
Relatively speaking then, between us, we have over 120 years of following Luton Town. Possibly 140. Because Mark, you're a bit older than us.
Yeah. It feels like 120 years just the last week, to be perfectly honest.
So yeah, we have about 140 years of supporting the town between the four of us. We've seen a fair bit, but relatively speaking, does this feel like Luton Town's lowest ebb right now? Relatively speaking, club not in financial strife, financially in a good place, been spending money. Is this our lowest ebb?
If it isn't the lowest ebb, it's close. I think I messaged you guys, didn't I, on Saturday after the loss against Stevenage, and it's as low as I've ever felt. I'm
you said low and disconnected.
I said I've never felt less connected as the club as I do at the moment. I actually hate us right now. I'm starting to hate Saturdays. I'm exhausted by the lack of anything associated that's good with this supporting this club at the minute. The years of good finishes and those increasing things going through the pyramid seem like miles away, and I'm absolutely heartbroken at just how far we've fallen and how bleak it is. I'd stick by those words, and nothing's changed that. Nothing's changed by that.
It's frankly amazing we haven't sort of acclimatized in the Championship. That's all we needed to do. Mid-table in the Championship. Lower mid-table would have been fine, but we've sunk right through the trapdoor, straight down the U-bend.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think back at kind of the worst points of supporting Luton. I mean, the absolute abject mediocrity under Lenny Lawrence. You had obviously the Blackwell League One season, and then the kind of financial decline that followed it, and then minus 30 points, all of that stuff. Probably Richard Money's season in non-league as well. / Brabin, I don't know. They all sort of merged into one terrible big pile of shit. But I think Phil's right. I didn't feel lack of connection with the club at that point. I think even in non-league, we were all absolutely done. We couldn't believe how long it was taking us to get back. But we all, we had faith in the project behind the scenes still. Don't get me wrong. There were people asking questions of 2020 back then. There were, but not in the same way. And I don't know. It feels at the moment like we are determined to find the lowest possible point in which we could be. I've got. My wife is not interested in football, and if she was, she wouldn't voluntarily watch Luton. And even her the other day, we had the Cambridge game on for a bit, and she was like, "Wait, is that Cambridge?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why are you playing Cambridge?" And I explained what the LDV pizza.
It's the new boat race, mate.
Yeah,
for next year.
Going down the river league rather than the stadium.
Yeah.
Just like,
why Luton Cambridge boat race?
Yeah. She was like, "How have things got so shit so quickly?" I was like, "Yeah, right, exactly. Welcome to every podcast." That is it. That's all we've been saying. But it feels like we are determined to find a new low every time we think we've hit one. You know,
The difference between being in non-league and obviously being very, very low is that we still had hope that it would get better. And right now, I don't have the hope that we are. I think when we're in non-league, I think we all kind of maybe take for granted that we were probably the best club in the league and we shouldn't be where we were. And we all knew that we would be able to get out of that position. At the moment, I don't see us getting any better. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm kind of resigned to the fact that we'll probably finish mid-table, if not bottom half, because it's that low that I can't see us playing any better or being any better in any sense of the word. And that's, I think, where I feel so disconnected from the club and just sad at the situation. Really, there's no hope.
I think we can all accept things going badly on the pitch, right? We can all accept bad times on the pitch. It's the fact that it's an amalgamation of everything, isn't it? It's not just bad times on the pitch. It's, you know, the stuff with the board, you know, the lack of communication, decision making, the investment, lack thereof, the recruitment, the fitness, all of that stuff together, I think, has made it. It's made it so difficult to see things turn around. We've gone through two managers, where the situation on the pitch hasn't changed one bit, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
It took him 8 games to get a win. That, you know, that was our manager bounce,
and it was an easy start. It was an easier start as well.
It was. Well, they were all the winnable games right at the start of his tenure. We all looked at that and went, right, we need to win at least however many of these. Yeah, but that's how bad things have got. Yeah.
Well, LTFC Louis has made a good point here. This is self-inflicted. It makes it 100 times worse. Mm-hmm. And some people saying the Buckle season, Anthony Sampson Buckle season,
that
was
playoff final.
That was bad. But the thing is, we were competing.
The National League in the cup.
The National League is a notoriously difficult league to get out of because that weird one automatic spot. And then you have the 2nd to 7th playoff, which is ridiculous. It's hard to get out.
It wasn't like that when we were in there either, was it?
It wasn't. It was 1st to 5th. It was 1st and then 2nd to 5th.
Oh, yeah.
It's traditional playoffs.
Yeah, and look, do you remember that time Wrexham finished like 15 points ahead of us? We beat them.
Yeah, we beat them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Alex Lawless with a great goal.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair, the National League. So, but we were always competing. Even Richard Money, who fans universally despise, he has the highest win percentage out of any Luton Town manager in the history. I think he's about 65% or something win rate. You know, we won a lot of games. And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, well, Hyde." Chris Lyons here, yeah, Hyde, Gateshead, all that.
Cold Gates.
Yeah, Christ, like, you know, there were some low points. Like I was talking to I'm going to name drop. I'm
slipping right down the Shay scale here, by the way, guys. This is not helping. Right. I'm right at the bottom.
I was talking to the Eastbourne Borough manager. Like, do you remember when we played Eastbourne Borough? And that was like the biggest game in the history of Eastbourne Borough. And this guy who, you know, he's part-time Eastbourne Borough manager, and he works as like, you know, a buyer for like some biotech company. And he said when the Eastbourne Borough players who were earning 150 quid a week part-time, and they rocked up at Luton with police escort going through the town centre, they were like, yeah, we made it. So that was tough because everyone in the conference were playing up against Luton because we were, for a better lack of a phrase, the big swinging dicks in the league. Yeah, the biggest and the swingiest. So for me, that wasn't a lower step because that was just the new normal after 5 seasons. But now
it was more of a case of when we were going to get promoted back into the league, wasn't it? Because we were winning all the games, so you're feeling good. So it wasn't the lowest.
But now, like we've invested, and it's like the lottery louts. Like I don't know if you remember that story about that bin man that won the lottery and he spaffed all his money on like a massive mansion, tigers, swimming pools filled with cocaine. That is essentially where we're at. We've spaffed all our money. We'll have a lovely stadium, but essentially, like, what do we have to show for it right now? We got a team that we can't motivate. Got a manager that's out the door, getting probably a nice payoff, and we've got to start again.
And you've got the dreaded combo on the pitch of can't score, can't keep a clean sheet.
2 goals from open play.
Yeah.
2 goals.
I know, it's mad. It's mad. And I think, that's the ultimate issue, is that it comes all the way back to what's in front of your own eyes. We talk quite regularly about the eye test. The eye test for us as a club at the minute, on the pitch, at the very least, is that we are not good at football.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. And that, like Wedge just said, like when we were all those seasons in the conference, and we were going to all these weird and wonderful away days where we had 3/4 of the ground at least on the away day, they were 9 times out of 10. Well, I say 9 times out of 10, a bit of an exaggeration, but a lot of the time we were winning. So even though you're in the 5th division, you're like, well, we won at the weekend. Job's a good one, and hopefully come the end of the season, we'll either get automatic promotion or we'll be in the playoffs. But right now, where we're at, I just can't see. I can't even see us scoring. Never mind seeing us winning a game. I've used it a million times in these chats, and it's just bleak. It's really bleak. So we need someone that's going to come in and really hit the ground running as best as they possibly can.
Yeah, well, we had Adam Newton running down the wing. We always looked like, there was a chance that we were going to score. Always. Say Tom Craddock. He was a bags man. Like right now, I look at the strikers. Yeah, you're right.
Amazing.
Who's going to score?
1 goal from all of our strikers from open play, I think.
Yeah.
And that was the Nordas one that their keeper by all rights should have saved, right?
Oh yeah,
the one against Burton. How that keeper let it go through him, I've no idea. So that's it. And I thought Yates was a decent signing, to be honest. I did, and Wells as an option. We know they can both score a lot of goals at this level. It can't just be them. It's the same as Morris and Adebayo. We know for a fact that they can score. They can.
They can do it.
Yeah.
They just need service, don't they? They need the right way of playing. Unfortunately, that's not the way that we've been
through
playing.
The middle.
Through
the middle. Like I was watching the play yesterday, and I think I mentioned it on the group. Every single time someone got the ball, it was always, can we get it out to the wing? And there was a chance to like recycle the ball into the middle of the park. Sorry to talk about Cambridge again. There was a chance to recycle the ball into the middle of the park, but no, we're just playing it around on the wing, trying to work out an angle for a cross. It was mad. It was absolutely mad. Yeah. No other way of playing. Mark Williams saying Mr. Doom and Gloom from you lot. Yeah, well, what is
there was 5 minutes of positivity earlier, Mark. You must have missed it. It was maybe
it's neutrality. It wasn't positivity. It was neutrality.
All right. Yeah. In contextually, it was more positive. Yeah, it's difficult. If you watch the Cambridge game, it's quite difficult to take anything positive from that, though, isn't it? It is really difficult. You got to feel for Lawless as well, right? I've really felt for him because
I
wanted it to work.
I really did. Yeah, I think they clearly they put a load of people in charge who've been at the club, know what the club means, etc. I thought, he put the senior players in to give them a chance to put something. And I thought, that's a decent decision to make. But clearly the rot is deep, as we've spoken about. So I did. I really felt for him.
Who do we have coming up through from the under-21s?
Chigozi can't get in the squad at the minute, can he? Is there something up with him? We can't defend, but yet he can't even get on the bench.
We haven't got a defender on the bench. Well, we didn't have a single defender on the bench the last 2 weeks.
Is he injured? Is he injured?
Honestly, no idea. No idea. Maybe we'll see him come the other end of, when we're playing Mansfield. Maybe he'll be back in the squads. I don't know. There was a good point from Phil Clark earlier on in the chat where he said Bloomfield said Jordan Clark was injured and could only do 35 minutes, but they played 85 minutes yesterday. Who knows? Managers have their favourites. In one day, out the other. Look, it's a fresh start. We got to get behind whoever comes in.
100%.
Yeah, everyone has to get behind them. And like we did for Bloomfield, but as you said earlier, Ryman, it took him 8 games to get anything on the board. So yeah, well, no, his first game was that 0-0 against Preston, wasn't it? That was a jumping off point, but then we did nothing with it. It is what it is. Look, we got to get behind the new person. We do. But there's probably a good time to round this up and finish it off, because Wedge probably needs to go to the toilet again.
Oh, good. Good. I went before we started this whole thing.
3 weeks in an hour. Right. Yeah. Thank you to everyone that's watched and interacted. It's been fantastic. So many comments, and thank you to everyone that's listened back. As always, we'll be doing no phone in this Sunday, I guess, because there's no game, so we'll take a week off. But we'll be back next week with a midweek catch up to preview the Mansfield game. Yeah, sounds good. And maybe
might have a new manager by then.
Well, to be honest, we might hop on for a phone in, like with the manager. If there's a managerial announcement, we could always jump on, and we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Let's see if the club take their time. But everyone, have a good week, and most importantly, come on, you
Come on, you
atters.